So in New Zealand, most of our communities are built around the coastline. It's a great place to live, to work, but also it's a place that's changing with climate change. We're seeing sea level rise and competing pressures on the land. We're already experiencing flooding with storms and weather events that blow in, and we see flooding around our coastline. We're seeing a groundwater rise as sea levels come inland, and we're starting to see those pressures on the land that we need to address. The idea for engaging with LEGO was all around giving us a different viewpoint to help engage with more people. It's not just around engaging with those who are younger, however, that is a real key focus. The next generations are the ones that are going to feel climate change even stronger than we are already feeling it. We're able to inspire the next generation. We're able to allow their brains to start thinking around options, to start thinking around different ways of doing things. The first shot that we took was where we had built a community that represents communities that we see all around New Zealand and around the world, where we've got houses built along the coastline. We've got an enjoyable beach with a road right behind it to give us all access. We've got a train track, our transport route, right built on the coastline. And as we saw with rising seas, storm events, the water creeping inland, and it started to flood that infrastructure, our communities. And then if we imagine that as our really intensified communities on the coast, we can really start to think around the risks that come from it. The second shot that we took, we looked at what could happen if we built a hard engineered seawall. So we left our rail and road infrastructure close to the coastline, and we saw that as it started to flood, it held the water back. But in our model, as like many seawalls, we started to see that as that situation got worse, the water started to seep underneath that seawall. We started to see water coming around the sides. With a lot of our infrastructure and our assets that have been built many years ago, even in today, the climate is different from how it was 20, 30 years ago when these were designed. The third piece that we filmed, you'll be able to see that we have started to talk around managed retreat. So when we start to look at taking our transport corridor, our railroad track, and moving that back inland, moving it up away from the coastline. And here's an example where we can also start to accommodate the risk of flooding, where we can start raising our houses. And that's something that we see in different parts of the world, building houses on stilts so that they can benefit from the environment when it's not flooded, but as it does start to flood, that flood water doesn't touch the house. But managed retreat is a topic that we're starting all to have to talk around a little bit more. We've really benefited from living in the communities, the beauty of living by the sea, but how long do we have to live in that area before it becomes the sea?